Hello everybody and welcome back to the Son of the Morning Comics channel, and today is Spidey Sunday, and I believe that it is Spidey Sunday number 5. What we're going to be looking at today is Spider-Man Noir number 2 from 2009 by David Hine, Fabrizio Sapolsky, and Carmine Di Giandomenico. I hope I said that right, although I'm sure I didn't. So obviously you're looking at both the regular edition and the variant. I'll be using the variant for the review today. Alright, so we'll pick it up here. Story starts off with Peter with Ben Urich, the photographer who is mentoring Peter from the Bugle, and they are watching an apartment building burning down. Of course, this is taking place in New York City in 1932. And so there's this big fire, and so basically what Urich is doing is he's explaining to Peter that basically how the Great Depression is screwing over basically the world. But especially in big places like New York, what they did was they would fill the buildings, like many families, into apartments. Eventually people wouldn't pay their rents, they couldn't, they had nothing. And then, the only way for the owner to get their money out of the building is to burn it down. Now, of course, they're taking pictures at the site when they get them all in the dark room and they're making the photos. They can see one of the Goblin's henchmen there. So Peter kind of knows right away what's going on. Urich tries to sort of dance around the point. So there's nothing too crazy going on here. They're just talking about, like, everybody has to have their cut of the action, and that's, we know that the Goblin is probably responsible, and so he sends Peter to take the photos down to the Bugle. And you can see here that Peter's starting to find Urich's stuff. He's finding a needle. There's booze everywhere, so he's seeing something problematic there, as you can probably guess. Now, while he's at Urich's house, the phone rings, and Peter answers it, and they want to talk to the Spider, which is Urich's nickname at this point in time. Peter pretends to be the Spider, and he finds out where the next problem is going to happen for, the next illegal matter to happen. So what's happening here is the Goblin is importing these stolen statues, and he's into all sorts of voodoo, juju, mojo, apparently. And anyone who touches these things apparently dies. One of the crates breaks open, and out come a whole bunch of spiders. And we know him. We just saw him in a picture burning down a building. And, the spiders attack him and absolutely destroy him. Peter, as you can see, he has taken that information, so he's there watching, and he's seeing what's happening. He's telling himself not to scream, but then he gets bit on the hand by one of these spiders, and he is freaking out a little bit. Now you can see his skull seems to be shattering. We have I love this image here. Great art in this book. Great art in this series. And the big spider's asking Peter, "Why do you tremble, little man? My bite brings death only to those of evil intent. I will bestow on you a greater torment, the curse of power." So, it's a curse. We all know with great power comes something, right? Probably responsibilities. And so Peter doesn't know what's going on. He wakes up, finds himself in this, I guess you would say, a compromising position. And he is, it's trouble. But he gets himself loose, and as he's falling to the ground, does like a nice flip and lands on his feet, or on his tippy toes, actually, as you can see right there. And he's sort of like, I'll be damned. I like that. He's noticing a difference in himself. And so then this would be the downtown Manhattan building that the penthouse is Norman Osborn, or the Goblin's, where he runs his show. Urich goes there basically to try to bribe him. So he shows up there. Obviously, the Goblin's not going to be terribly impressed with him for showing up, but he shows him the picture, and then the Goblin lets him know that Fancy Dan no longer works there, or works for him. And, you know, I like the way they sort of splice it in there to show how he kind of got his, and which was probably deserved. And you have the boss there. He doesn't like being blackmailed, and you can see he's looking very almost goblinish there for a second. And but not, you know, or somebody's looking goblinish anyway. I think it's kind of strange. This stuff is not really happening. And so, you know, they give Urich some money and push him out, but you can see here there's a figure flying towards the window. You can see here in this shot it looks like Norman is looking like that the statue. And so obviously this is problematic. Peter comes crashing through the window, knocks everybody over. He's not a happy guy, as you can see. Jumps to here and then hops up onto Osborn's desk. He says, "I'm here to give you a message, Goblin. It all stops. The extortion, the drugs, the prostitution, the protection rackets, all of it." And he's telling him, you know, you're going to have to kill him to make that happen. Are you ready to do that? And then he notices Urich is there, at which point he realizes that Urich is probably not up to the best of things, because what's he doing there with him? He calls him a junkie and a drunk, tells him that he knows that he bought him off. He realizes that it's Peter right away, and then he wants to talk to him. Peter says, "Stay away from me, I never want to see you again." Not the best situation. And so they're trying to shoot at Peter, but he is too fast. His reflex is too quick. He jumps his way out of there real fast. Osborn tells Urich, you know, I'll give you a nice bonus if you figure out who that guy was. And at this point, he's turned face. He has decided he doesn't want to work for Osborn anymore. He's done with him. Basically says that he's gonna turn him in. It's not the smartest thing that you're gonna do if you actually want to stay alive. Don't tell the person that's probably gonna kill you that you're gonna, you know, write an expose on them. It's probably not gonna work out too well. So he gets home. He's a little banged up, but he calls J. Jonah Jameson and tells him he's got the big one for him. This time he's giving him the Goblin. Jonah is loving it, and he says he wants to bring the stuff in. J. Jonah Jameson, of course, is never the nicest guy in the world, but here he's a little bit more than just not nice. He's saying, you know, I can't have you on the street. Just stay where you are. I'll be right there. And so we don't know for sure, but earlier the Goblin had said that, you know, don't get rid of Urich to his guys until don't get rid of Urich until they recover all of the evidence that he has against Norman. But we're only to assume then that J. Jonah Jameson probably let Osborn know, because Osborn has a piece of everything in New York at this time. So you can see somebody shows up at Urik's door and blows his face off. That's never a good thing. So Peter, now he goes back home, looks at his Uncle Ben's war medals, because he was, I guess, a pilot at the end of World War I, and that, you know, his grandfather never thought that that was a war worth fighting, but now he is fighting a war that's worth fighting, saying he's going to do it for his Uncle Ben, while he is using his uncle's old flight gear to make a suit of some sort. And, you know, see here, oh, that's never great. We see J. Jonah Jameson, and he appears to be calling somebody, telling them that Urik's dead. And then we have, of course, right here at the end, it says, say your prayers, Goblin, here comes the Spider-Man. And that's to be continued. So, very much enjoy this series. Like I said when I did the review of the first one, the art of this series just sort of stuck out to me, and that's why I picked this stuff up. Lucky that I got it, I guess. They're not the easiest things to find. It's kind of funny when you have these, you know, newer comics that are sort of harder to find, and you find out, like, way later on, like, oh, I guess it was a good idea that I picked those up. Cool story. Absolutely loved this when it came out. We'll have to see how the newer series turns out. I don't really know. But thank you once again for joining me here on Spidey Sunday number 5. And thank you for joining me here on the Son of the Morning Comics channel. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments, hit the notification bell, and you can always visit me over at Son of the Morning 7 on Twitter. Have yourself a wonderful day.